So when I review cars, I tend to put a lot of emphasis on interior quality, features, and tech. But some people don't put as much importance in those things. Some just need something with four wheels, will get them from point A to point B, fuel efficient, within their budget, and if it's not completely bare, that's just a bonus. This right here is the Changan Alsvin. It has four wheels, it will get you from point A to point B, it is very fuel efficient, it is affordable, and it's not completely bare. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. Changan may be a newcomer here in the Philippines, but they're among the top 4 car companies in China. So at the very least, you can be sure that this is not an upstart company that doesn't know what they're doing. The Alsvin is currently Changan's only sedan in the Philippines. It sells between 629,000 pesos for the base model to 739,000 pesos for this top-of-the-line platinum variant. That would make it one of the most affordable sedans that you can buy in the Philippines. Okay, so at the front, it gets this Lexus-inspired grille that extends all the way to the bumper. You get chrome accents, and you get the Changan logo at the center. It gets projector headlamps with LED DRLs and LED turn signals. The actual headlamps, though, are halogens. And it gets LED fog lamps. So the Alsvin is longer and wider than the Mirage, and it's slightly shorter and narrower than the Toyota Vios. So the Platinum variant gets 15-inch wheels, it gets disc brakes at the front and drum brakes at the back. I think from this angle it kind of looks like the Vios. It has a similar egg shape to it. It has this high greenhouse, which is good for improving visibility and also for improving headroom. So on the side you get these character lines. You have one over here and another one down here. And you also get a shark's fin antenna. So I think this right here is the best angle of the car. It gets these aggressively styled halogen tail lamps. Down here it gets this plastic cladding which looks like a diffuser. It gets rear parking sensors. And over here you have this lip which looks like a ducktail spoiler. So you don't have any buttons here for opening the trunk. To open the trunk you have to do it either from the inside or using the key fob. So in here you get 382 liters of cargo space, which is actually quite decent. The Alsvin is powered by a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that produces 106 horsepower and 145 Nm of torque. That's a bit more power than the Vios 1.3 and a lot more power than the Mirage G4 1.2. The good thing though is that even though it has more power than the competition, it's still a very fuel-efficient engine. Also, unlike the Vios and the Mirage G4, which come with CVT transmissions, the Alsvin comes with a 5-speed dual clutch, which I think makes it feel a bit more engaging to drive. It's not as nice looking as the Emgrand's interior, but the Emgrand is also more expensive. So it's not premium looking, but it's also not as basic looking as the base models of its competitors. Like you get leather seats here. Now I'm pretty sure this is faux leather, but it's still better than fabric. You also get a leather wrapped armrest. Also over here, this is leather wrapped. You get some aluminum looking accents over here, some gloss black accents. The dashboard is made of plastic, but it feels sturdy, doesn't feel that cheap. And you get plenty of textures on it to make it look more interesting. And this also gets a sunroof, which you don't get on any of its Japanese or Korean competitors. I wish the steering wheel was leather wrapped though. This is polyurethane. It gets a 7-inch screen. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay. It doesn't have Android Auto. But it does have a reverse camera with active guidelines. And it also has a blind spot camera, which I'll show you later. It has a volume knob and it also has a temperature knob. And I like how they're opposite each other, so they balance each other out. So down here you get one USB port, one 12-volt outlet, It gets a manual handbrake. It gets two cup holders over here. So you get an analog speedometer. You have a digital tachometer to the left side and also a multifunction display at the right side. You also get cruise control, which is something that you don't get on its competitors. You don't get a push start button. You have to put the key in the keyhole, the old school way. Let's check out the back seat. Here at the second row, you don't get a lot of toys. You don't have air vents, no USB ports, no 12-volt outlets. There is no center armrest, and you don't get cup holders. You do get leather seats though, and you get ISOFIX tethers. Legroom is quite okay. I have about 4.5 inches of legroom. Headroom is quite decent. I can fit 2 fingers on top of my head. I'm 5'8". Okay, so I've been driving this car for a couple of days now, 4 days or 5 days, and that fuel gauge still hasn't moved. So either there's something really wrong with that fuel gauge, or this car is very fuel efficient. So I'm registering about 13 kpl in the city with moderate traffic, which is very good. I think one advantage of the Alsvin over its competitors like the Vios is its transmission. So this comes with a 5-speed dual clutch transmission, which feels a bit more fun to drive compared to the CVTs of its competitors. This car also has 104 horsepower, which is a bit more than the 1.3 Vios. I believe the Vios has under 100 horsepower. And at these lower horsepower numbers, every horsepower matters. Look at that. And also the steering, it feels relatively direct for a car of this type. There is very little play, and there's almost no dead zone at the center. As you can see, it feels quite sensitive. The smallest input translates to movement by the car. See? So if you do this on something like an MUX, nothing happens. But as you can see here, it actually wobbles quite a bit. So one quirk of the car is that it comes with a side mirror camera. Now usually you would expect the side mirror camera to point behind you, but on this car it doesn't. It points in front of you. So it's not entirely useless. I mean, it helps you see where the curb is. So overall, the Alsvin is not going to blow your mind in terms of features or in terms of interior quality. Its main selling point really is its price. So this starts at 680,000 pesos and goes all the way up to 730,000 pesos. And at those prices, this is the cheapest automatic sedan that you can buy. And Changan even offers discounts for this. Now you may say that it's only 80,000 or 100,000 pesos cheaper than its competitors, but at these extreme budget prices, every peso matters. And if the budget is tight, this is not a bad car to own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.